Hi, my name is Schmitz, and this is my father, Ronald Schmitz, and he has been a resident of Alaska for more than 25 years, and he's 50 years of age, and yeah, he took time out of his day to let me interview him. So.
Hi, Haley.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How many years have you been in Alaska?
26.
And what brought you up to Alaska? I mean, why did you come up here?
I can remember as a kid I always wanted to live in Alaska. So when I was 25 years old, I sold everything I had and moved up here for adventure.
Alright, and what parts of Alaska have you been to? Like what regions or certain parts that some stuff places that you really remember?
Okay, well, we live in South Central, so I've obviously been there. I've been in the Bristol Bay region, hunting and fishing. I've been in the North Slope region, the Fairbanks Borough. I guess that's about it.
There's a bunch of different parts. What is your favorite thing to do during your Alaskan summer?
During Alaskan summer, I love to go fishing with my family. We sport fish, halibut, and salmon.
And what about your favorite things to do during an Alaskan winter? I mean, if we do have one.
If we do have one. Well, it used to be snowshoeing and cross-country skiing. And now that we have kids, it's just winter activities like sledding and messing around in the snow and even sightseeing.
What is probably out of all the things that you love about Alaska and the things that made you move up here, what is probably your favorite thing about it?
Probably the main reason I came up here was to hunt. I love to hunt, and that's probably still one of my favorite passions about Alaska is the ability to go out and hunt in the wild some unique animals.
And what are your least favorite things about Alaska, if there are any?
Like everyone else, it's the length of the winter. And then the cost of travel outside to go see family. It's pretty prohibitive at times.
What are some things about Alaska that have changed since you first came here 26 years ago?
Unfortunately, I think the hunting and fishing has been going downhill due to a lot of external factors, overharvest, possibly some weather-related issues, and then just cyclical downturns in the normal life cycle of mammals.
And there's many things going on in Alaska. There's always stuff going on in Alaska, but what do you think is a really important issue that needs to be addressed or has been addressed?
I think one of the biggest opportunities that we have is additional revenue streams. How's the state of Alaska that we keep running on continual dependence on oil? We need additional revenue resources.
All right, and if you had to convince anyone to move up to Alaska, who would it be, and how would you do it?
Well, it'd be someone that's probably outdoor-minded like I was when I first came up here. And I would just help them understand the vastness of the state, its beauty, and just the diversity of animals that can be not only just viewed, which is fine, but also hunted and enjoyed. Whether you kill them or not is not the issue, or catch them or not. It's just the adventure of being out in the wild.
What do you think one of your most favorite memories or moments in Alaska has been for the past few years you've been here?
Probably one of my favorite memories is my first brown bear trip out in Fognac Island. It was a successful trip, and it was just awesome to see such large bears and then be able to catch one, pretty good size one, 10 foot 2.
All right, and what is your least favorite moment? Least favorite memory, something you didn't enjoy, or that could be laughed at, or just an embarrassing moment.
Oh, I never have an embarrassing moment.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's hard to categorize. Again, the long winters are kind of hard to take. I guess one of the embarrassing points is on the sheep hunt when I found myself in a box canyon with no way back out, so I had to go back about 5 to 6 miles the same direction I had come in, and that was because I hadn't planned or understood the maps well enough of the area I was going into. It was kind of embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. Do you plan on staying here, the rest of your life, or are you thinking about leaving anytime soon? Or?
No, I think in about 3 years it would be nice to look at being a snowbird, as they call it, living in Alaska from April through September or October, and then living in northeast Texas or Louisiana during the wintertime. Hopefully in the next 3 to 5 years.
Have you noticed that our gas prices have been lowering?
They have been.
Why do you think that is?
Because obviously the supply of oil far exceeds the demand. And in a supply chain environment like that, when supply exceeds demand, price will go down.
How do you think oil wealth has changed Alaska?
Well, I think it's changed the attitude to be a dependence on oil, and it probably slowed down the opportunity to look for other revenue sources, because oil has been so abundant, and the prices have been inflated very high over the last 25 years I've been here. There's probably been a slowdown in looking at other revenue sources.
So living here for a while, I'm sure you've noticed that the homeless rate has been increasing, and
Yes.
How do you think Alaska can help, decrease that homeless rate, and not just helping people out for just a little bit, but actually giving them opportunities to get out of that position and move on in their life?
That's a hard one. Your mother and I spend a lot of time at the downtown soup kitchen, where we see up to 400 to 500 people a day that get fed. Probably the only meal they'll have for that day, and it's disheartening to see that. I think it's through outreaches. The city has become very dependent on the churches, which is a great idea, but I also feel that the city and the native corporations need to be more involved in curbing this through, whether it be through educational resources for these individuals, temporary housing, abuse and substance abuse type training programs, but that cannot solely be borne by one entity like the church or by the state. It needs to be multiple entities, church, state, and native corporations that share responsibility in addressing this problem.
Why do you think it has been increasing? Why do you think there's so many homeless people living, especially in Midtown and downtown? Why do you think, really been increasing in the past few years?
Well, unfortunately, out in Bush, Alaska, there's very few revenue opportunities for individuals to make a living, similar to a small town in the lower 48. And so these individuals that may not have too many skills or trainings move in from the bush into the big city and just find themselves lost. And they don't have the ability to get in contact with possibly a good job, or at least a job to start out with. And unfortunately, they fall by the wayside and enter the homelessness.
How do you feel about the PFDs we've just received today?
Well, I think the state of Alaska back in the 70s and 80s did a wonderful job of creating the permanent fund. It's a savings plan, an enormous savings plan of some $50 billion that's set aside. The management of the PFD can be debated in a lot of different ways, and I'm not going to go into that. But I think the state did a tremendous job in creating the PFD, realizing there was going to be a large revenue stream coming into the state, and it was decided that that revenue stream should partially be shared by every Alaska resident. So I think the concept of the PFD was fantastic.
I do too. Good money.
Good money. That's a sad benefit.
So we're closing up soon. What is your favorite season of Alaska, and why is it your favorite season?
Well, I see two seasons that I enjoy the most, and that's the summer fishing season, and it's just being outside, obviously, but enjoying the fishing, especially with kids, and seeing them grow and becoming fisher women, since there are 3 of them in this household. And then the fall, just enjoying the hunting. But I grew up in a winter environment, so fall was always a nice time of the year to transition into winter. So beautiful colors, leaves, and hunting.
Fall is definitely my favorite season too. So this is going to be our last question before we close up, but as you know, you're planning on leaving in the next few years, or hoping to leave in the next few years. Do you have any worries for, like, for Alaska and anything you're particularly worried about?
Well, my worry again is the dependence on a somewhat singular revenue stream for the state, and that being oil. I hope to see some expansion. We have an abundance of natural resources, I think, that are available and are marketable. You got fish, you got forest, you got oil. Some go back and forth on mining. I haven't made up my mind on that yet. But I think there needs to be some more marketing and probably some industrial type jobs move up there, some manufacturing type of a sector. So my worry again is the dependence on a somewhat singular revenue stream for the majority of the state, and it's fun.
All right, well, thank you for taking time out of your day to let me interview, and you had really thoughtful answers, and, you know, doing this just makes me appreciate Alaska more, and appreciate people, and, you know, the time you've been here, and what you've been learning, and
Well, thank you,
what
Kelly.
you've taught us, and, yeah, thank you.
I enjoyed our interview.
I did too.
Thank you.